memories as well, but even without a memory, we're born with the tendency to our mind automatically, everything appears to exist inherently. So because it appears that way, we believe in it. I'm glad you're bringing it up. Everything, right now, our mind, and it's always existed that way. We don't know the beginning. That's the mind we're born with, okay? So we can't say where it comes from because, never mind, we've addressed that. So right now, our mind is such that everything appears to exist from its own side, okay? Now, that appearance, because no one ever tells us that that is wrong, and maybe some people figure it out themselves, it's possible, but usually only when someone says, well, there's that appearance, yes, but that is actually not in accordance with reality. To give you another example, until recently, relatively recently, people thought the earth was flat and that the sun revolves around the earth, especially with the earth and the sun, because it looks like it, right? When the sun, I mean, it wouldn't look differently, but it appears to us as if because we're kind of the center of the universe, so everything revolves around us. It's probably because of that, I don't know, psychologically. So it seems like we're still and the sun is moving, okay? So that appearance is there. And before someone explained to us that that actually doesn't make sense, that it's the other way around, that that's just how it appears to us, we believed it. Okay? Probably for thousands of years, millions of years, humans, were they around that much? Anyway, however long they were around, so they believed that the sun was rising, I suppose. Until we were told that's just an optical illusion, it doesn't exist that way. So likewise in our mind, because of imprints, we have that appearance of objects appearing that way, and then we hold on to it. We hold it to be true, and we reinforce this. We leave new imprints again and again. We keep new imprints, and that continues on and continues on.
If the eye is moving around all the time and changing, what holds the imprints?
Oh, what's hold the imprint? The mind that continues on. It's like they're part of the mind. They're part of the mind. So the eye, of course, is changing. The mind is changing too. But look, even the river is changing all the time, and it's still holding fish inside it. Right? It's not like, I mean, the water is changing from moment to moment. It doesn't mean it kicks out the fish in every moment. Right? It holds the fish. So although it's a continuum, it contains things. So within the mind, there are imprints. So even though the mind changes all the time, but it passes on these imprints. Right? So habits are also a form of, actually imprint is another word for inhabit. Okay? When I do something yesterday, today automatically, okay, the thought arises. So I've left an imprint. Now, since I reinforce it all the time, I continue on. Unless I start thinking about emptiness or start meditating on it, and slowly the mind starts changing. New imprints are left, and sooner or later, like every time I meditate, depending on the strength of the meditation, and that's why what's actually happening when you focus on that feeling and you focus on it single-pointedly, you keep a strong imprint, which then next time a situation arises again and again, like after you meditate again and again, you've left such a strong imprint that you remember in the situation. You go, oh, wait a minute, what does Buddhism tell me? And in that moment, it still appears as if there was a strong I, but you go, no, I'm not going to be fooled. It doesn't exist as strongly. It seems to be a problem, but that's just, and that's where the Dalai Lama says towards the end, he doesn't maybe say in those words, but that's what he often says, even if you don't understand it in that moment, only maybe at times when someone explains it, when you read a book and with a very relaxed mind, in that moment of stress, you cannot think about it. You don't have the presence of mind, but just remember, it's like an illusion. That in itself is helpful. Oh, it's just like an illusion. It appears one way, but exists in a different way. So just that takes out some of the strength of the situation. Your mind is like, I'm not going to be fooled. I know it doesn't really exist that way. Okay? How it really exists, I'm not sure right now because I'm busy being emotional. But right? So that really helps to stay calm. And you know what's so beautiful? When you stay calm during a fight, for instance, the other person stays calmer. It has an effect on the other person. If like the other person gets like whoa, and you get whoa, and that triggers, right? Whereas if you're like, oh, okay, so the other person gets really angry, and you go, oops, nothing up. So you get, and instead of getting angry, you listen to what the other person says, and you say, oh, I didn't know you were thinking that way. You're feeling that way. Oh gosh, right? The other person gets like, whoa, and you just listen and you go, oh, okay, all right. Oh, I didn't know you. And then the other person, and you maybe say, oh, I'm sorry, and the other person goes, oh, I'm sorry, right? Because for sure, it's almost like when you say apologize, as in like they say like, why did you do such and such? And you think, and you're like, why did I? Oh, I forgot. Sorry. No way they can be angry. Like they go like, right? Have you noticed? And then they go like, and you just in that moment, instead of also going, okay, like you see that face and you already start tensing, and already try to defend yourself. No, you just go like, okay, never mind. Stay calm, because it's not as real. It's just this person tensing up. We actually, before they say something, we notice the tensing and we tense. Have you ever noticed? They walk up to you and we tense. Defense. And you're like, no, I didn't. And then the other was, yes, you did. Right? But instead, okay, it's just a reaction. You learn to just stay calm. The other person says something and you say, oh, you take a moment to think about it. Right? Really take them seriously. Think about it and say, oh, yeah. Oh, sorry for that. It takes out no way they can react. Right? So you can learn that. You can learn that. It's not that hard. You have to be present. You have to be mindful in each moment. Don't get carried away. We get carried away by a sense that there's someone is attacking. A lot of it's subconscious. A lot of it is subconscious. So you can become aware of the subconscious. It just takes time. Give it some time. Okay? Find an inner calm. You need to find this inner calm. Okay? And then the inner calm allows you to be present in that moment when things are happening. Okay, like, okay, this could be a problem, but it's a conventional problem. How am I going to deal with it? You stay calm. No matter what. And these emotions don't carry off. So it's much harder to get in a fight like that. I mean, you're not going to get, someone may still beat you up, okay, but then you haven't contributed from your side. Does that make sense? And of course, having compassion for the other person. Compassion is so important to be with other people and to have the wish for that person to be happy. And when you see them uptight, even more reason to want them to be happy. Because right now they're creating the causes for their own suffering. A hateful person creates so much suffering for themselves. Right? Especially hatred. But you see what happens in the mind is we leave imprints in our mind. Every positive thought we have leaves a positive imprint. So with a lot of positive imprints, we're creating the causes for a future happy mind. With every thought, every loving thought. We're almost like putting money in the bank, right? It's like every positive thought, it's wholesome for the mind, it's healthy for the mind. You create the causes to be calm and peaceful. Anger destroys this. Anger destroys, it's the nature of anger, it's just the forcefulness in the mind. It counteracts, it's almost like heat and cold. Positive imprints are like heat, or cold, whatever, and anger is like heat that destroys it. So you destroy a lot of your happiness in that moment, but also in the future. It's just how the mind works. So this person who was angry, they're destroying so much positive potential. They were so kind and loving to other people, but that moment of anger, they can destroy a lot of that positive potential. So, wow, we need to protect people from that. It's terrible when they get angry. So if we really understand that, how the mind works, how all our happiness comes from our mind, if someone destroys their own happiness through selfishness and anger, wow, they're an object of our compassion. They're destroying themselves, right? And the funny thing is, usually they're lonely. Usually people don't like them. They don't have many friends. And if you have real compassion, they'll be nice to you. And you get to know a person who's actually just like us, but they don't know. They think when they're selfish, they're not wisely selfish, right? They want to be happy like us, but they think if I'm just more, I'll get what I want. And if I get what I want, I'll be more happy. And then once they get what they want, they still don't feel satisfied, so they need to continue. They don't realize they're looking for happiness in the wrong place. But if you really have compassion for them and you listen to them and you connect with them like they just want to be happy like we do, and you connect with that, wow, they feel understood before long. If you really like them and you really look behind that superficial kind of selfishness and ambitiousness, like really go a little deeper, then they feel like they're understood and they act differently towards you. They act differently, they don't feel threatened by you. They feel understood, they feel accepted. And that's what we all want. We want other people to accept us, to love us for who we are. Yes?
I was thinking that when you say they, it's as if it's somebody outside of us. They feel that way. And maybe we find that in our own self, or in our own consciousness or mind, I might have that conflict or that drama going on.
Yes, it's true. Sometimes I hate someone for bad qualities because I have them myself and I'm just not aware of them. Right? Sometimes another person has a fault that is not that bad, but I find it's unbearable because I have that fault myself. Right? I know I have it myself, and I hate it more when other people have that. Other people are like, oh, big deal, you know? It's like, yes, so you're absolutely right. Here I'm almost like talking as if it was really truly there. I'm just taking that without talking of emptiness, but you're adding an extra complication, which is totally realistic, just a little harder. Why am I reacting like that? Right? Some people don't have a problem when someone is very ambitious, because they're not ambitious themselves. So I'm like, poor guy, he's really ambitious. But when you're ambitious yourself, another person who's ambitious may annoy you. Right? Or when someone has anger and you have anger yourself, if you're not an angry person, anger in another person may not really bother you. When you're stingy yourself, stinginess in other people may bother you. But if you're really generous, you may feel like, oh, poor guy, you know. It feels so good to be generous. They don't know what they're missing out on. So instead of feeling angry with the other person, you just feel like, oh, I wish they could be more generous and would enjoy the same happiness I experience. Right? So, yeah, you're right. It's like a lot of the things we see in other people, we may find more annoying, and they may actually, you see, the moment we feel annoyed by something, we've already exaggerated. If you just notice, oh, this other person is acting in a selfish way, right, and you can feel neutral about it, that means you haven't gone to that extreme. Yes, so that's a good point, actually. But I want to finish this with love and compassion. That's so important. Those emotions are so important. This world needs more. And don't think it's just Israel. Everywhere. Everywhere. Come on. It's not. No. What's happening here is also happening in other countries, just in a slightly different way. Okay? So there's hatred, there's discrimination, there's me and them. Everywhere. Everywhere. In India, in Germany, in the United States. Everywhere. Okay? But of course, also here, and you live here, and so really to make a change, the one thing you can really change is yourself. So it starts with ourselves. So to tell people what to do but not doing it doesn't really work. So if we want peace, we need to create peace within our own mind. Okay? And so that affects our family. And this family will go out and affect other people, and that's a ripple effect. Okay? So preaching is okay, it's very good if you really live this. We can only talk about it if we live it, if we try at least to live it. Otherwise it's just words, just empty words. So Therefore, to see that our mind, a person doesn't exist inherently. You and I, there's no inherent you and I. There's no inherent mind, no inherent body. There's only conventional such. Okay? And conventional, therefore, because it exists conventionally, it can exist. Otherwise, it couldn't exist. But conventionally, people want to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy, and everyone deserves to be happy. Conventional, on a conventional level. So therefore, love and compassion do make sense. Even if it's just a conventional person, I can still wish them to be happy. Okay? Therefore, very important to balance those two. But don't ignore your own needs. Right? That's also important. Balance is very important. Do not ignore your own needs. Okay? First, love yourself for who you are. If you want to be loving and accepting of others, be loving and accepting with regard to yourself. Okay? With all the faults and with all the good qualities. So, this is something you don't find so much in Buddhism, because Tibetans and Indians traditionally used to do that. So they didn't need to be reminded of that. But actually we start here. If you want to be patient with yourself. If you want to be loving with yourself. Right? To wish to be happy, but also to be accepting of our faults and understand they're temporary. And it depends on the situation. If we feel low about ourselves, just check your mind. If you hate yourself, think of your positive qualities. If you feel like I'm arrogant, I'm better than everyone else, think of your negative qualities. Right? Just always in accordance to what is needed. And once you're able to be content with yourself, you feel good, it's okay. Room for improvement, but okay. I'm okay. I'm all right. You feel good with yourself. You're okay. You don't need to prove anything. You're giving your best, and then if you fall down, you pick up and you try again.
Good enough.
Good enough for now. Can't force it. I can only create the causes and conditions. But again, don't do too much. Don't do too little. Okay? When you need to rest, you rest. When you feel like, oh, I'm so comfortable, I don't want to do it, then work a little, right? So like a balance. And then you extend it to others. What's going on around me? The people we work with. And don't get caught in this like, may all sentient beings be happy. Some sentient being somewhere, right? That doesn't help people around me, right? Like, practice while you're in a traffic jam, okay? When this guy on that lane, actually he wants to go where you're going, but this guy is now going, instead of waiting, goes all the way to the front and now wants to get in. Let him in. What's the big deal? Okay, why not? Be generous. Pardon?
Smile to him.
Smile at him. Yeah, smile at him. Yes, exactly. Yeah, smile. Yeah, sure. Please. And when he doesn't say thank you, that's all right. You didn't do it for someone to say thank you. You did it to do the right thing. So let them in. And I was driving with someone the other day. I think it's something, his name is not Niv, Nis or Nil, some Ni, and I. Yeah, so he said to me, we were driving to a venue, and then he was saying, wow, people are much friendlier nowadays in Tel Aviv. You know, he wanted to somewhere, and right away they let him in. And I was thinking, wow, probably more people are practicing that. And when you're practicing that, maybe, you know, people come from Dharma course or something, you know, so she teach. So then, and then you do it to someone and they feel good, and they do it next time, and it's got that ripple effect. So who knows, you know, he said it's not as aggressive as it used to be. Oh, it's so happy to hear. It depends on the time of day. But still, to do it. It feels good. Just be calm. Never mind, I'll arrive back 5 minutes later. What's the big deal? And I practice generosity. Let him in, right? Yeah. the other day, it was so cute. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen. We were driving towards the south, and then this guy, he wanted to come in. He put down his window and he said, "Excuse me, could I go in?" And the person was driving, "Sure." What did you say? Bavakasha? Okay. And he went in, so thank you. That was really cute. I would have always let someone in who kind of, "Excuse me, can I go before you?" "Sure." So nice, he asked so nicely. I never had anyone do that while driving, you know. No, you don't do that anymore. You're like, "Can I go in?" "Sure." You know, it was really nice. Anyway, so those are the times to practice. During traffic, be generous, be kind. Understand that others are just like ourselves, and just as why I want to be happy, I want others to be happy. Okay? All right. So that's what I want you to leave with. Of course, to also check about the self, I, etc., but also about others. So should we do a short meditation on compassion, on love? Okay? So, yeah. So now bring to mind the fact that despite all the differences between the different human beings in this world, there's one thing we all have in common. We want to be content, peaceful and happy. And we don't want to experience the things we don't like. Problems. Insult. And so forth. So therefore, the people in Israel and beyond Israel, everywhere in this world, want to be happy and, like us, deserve to be happy. Unfortunately, because of the misapprehension of reality, human beings suffer so greatly. Because of hatred, envy, anxiety, and lots of other disturbing emotions. So now generate the wish sincerely from the depth of your heart. May all these people everywhere be free from their wrong views, misapprehensions, disturbing emotions, and all the different sufferings that arise from those. May they be free from everything that prevents them from being happy.